I I had a bad case of I mentioned it. I was just non-stop shit myself. So every time there's a toilet, I would have to stop, take a shit, and then go, and then stop, take a shit again. Not only my ass was hurting from sitting down in the car, my asshole was hurting from shit. So it's just pure pain for a whole day. At least it didn't happen again the next couple days. So like, yep, all good. But then that's basically it. The only annoying thing that happened. Yeah.
Darrel,
It was a painful day for my ass.
you want to answer the next one before I die of laughter?
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to Chaos.
Literally, yet not so literally. I'm Mario,
And I'm Francis.
and we're the hosts of In the Midst of Chaos.
On today's episode, we'll be talking about our experiences with having to move. A lot in particular. We'll be sharing our experiences, are the pros and cons, struggles, or maybe even if there's joys. Not saying it's a good or bad thing yet, but and maybe even some tips for those who are going through the same thing.
More importantly, we have a guest to discuss it with. Please give a warm welcome to our first ever guest on the podcast, Darrel.
Hello, everyone. Hello. It's an honor to be here. Like, I'm pretty happy because if I'm being completely honest, I didn't know what I was gonna do after school. So, yeah, this is sort of a good way to spend it.
So, also, thank you, Darrel, for joining us. We'll start with a small introduction about Darrel with our basic and 7 surfing questions and 3 thorough questions, as Mari and I have done before.
All right, let's get into it. So the first question is, Darrel, what's your full name and what grade are you?
So, my full name is Darrel Bermibo, and I'm in grade 9-1.
Okay, next question. What's your favorite book?
My favorite book, I know this sounds kind of cliche, but I would say the original Diary of a Wimpy Kid book.
That's a good book, though.
That is awesome. Totally my childhood, honestly.
Yes. What about your favorite song?
Favorite song, if I'm being honest, probably Holiday by KSI. Like that's such like a very good vibe to it.
I agree. It's a good song.
What about your favorite quote?
Favorite quote. Now there's a lot of quotes I've seen throughout the years, but my favorite one is probably a quote from sorry about my dog in the background, but it's it's from George Bush. It goes like, I believe the human and fish can coexist peacefully, because if the human and fish, an animal and a human, can coexist peacefully, then humans can as well.
Oh, I like that one. That's nice. That's really nice.
Yeah. All right. So the next question: what's your favorite food or type of food?
Food. Oh, I actually like a lot of food, but probably if I could eat only one thing for the rest of my life, probably Korean barbecue, not gonna lie.
Okay, hands down. Okay, one of the best types of food. Okay,
It
yeah,
is
totally
good,
relatable.
but yeah.
What about your favorite color?
Color. For color, I'd say, ooh. I know this sounds stereotypical, but I'd say black, because it can almost fit with anything.
Same.
Technically, not being a nerd here, but technically it's a shade. Black and white are shades. If you had to go with like another answer, like a color, do you have anything in mind? Or we could go with black. Totally fine.
If I could choose another color, probably either blue or yellow, because I've always liked sort of like bright colors since I was a little kid.
That's nice.
All right. So, what is your favorite animal?
Animal. From the background stuff you can hear, I think it'll probably be dogs because I've liked dogs like since I was very little.
Yeah. Dogs are awesome. Okay, then we'll move on to the second part, which is basically thorough questions, which is like more questions where we get to like know you deeper, not exactly deeper, but more thorough. Hence the title. So, what's the most common or normal thing about you?
Ooh, that's a pretty good question. For normal or common thing about me, I mean, it's kind of hard to answer the question, but the most common thing about me is probably wait, sorry guys, there's my dad in the background. Hold on.
Yep. Fine. I can cut it out later.
A big chapter in my book since I was very, very little.
Wait, before we move on to the next question, what like do you like? What musical instruments do you play?
Mostly the piano, but for musical instruments, like now it's not that common though.
Okay. So the next question, the opposite, which is, what is the weirdest or most odd thing about you?
So the weirdest or oddest thing about me is, first, I usually wake up pretty early for a kid my age. Probably around like 5 or 4 a.m. And then if I'm being honest, I just sort of like stare at a wall for a couple of, let's just say, really, really, really long like periods of time. And it's, I don't know, it's like a weird thing I do to sort of like relax my brain. Yeah, kind of like.
I mean, I can totally relate with like I can totally relate with like the waking early because I also wake up at like 5. I'm like, but just a question: while you're staring at the wall, do you use the time to reflect and question your existence, or are you normal?
No, guys. Listen. I'm a human being from Earth. I'm not an alien trying to infiltrate this country. Okay, so I'm good. I'm fine.
You're good. You're normal. Okay. Okay. Last but not least, do you have any hidden talent or specialties?
Hidden talent. Now, for the past few months, if I'm being honest, I don't know if it's like normal, but I kind of like to edit, not gonna lie, and I've been like really liking sort of like military history and anything related to the military, like that stuff I really like. So I think this year what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to like sort of like edit better. I guess that's like the perfect sentence I can sort of like say. I try to edit better, maybe post stuff on Instagram.
Yeah, I actually saw a couple of posts on your Instagram. It was cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we move on to anything else, I just wanted to give another big thanks to Darrel for joining this little podcast session. So now let's get started with our usual catch-ups or like updates. So this is basically where we talk about how our week was so far. Mario, you want to start first?
For me, I went to Makassar like a couple days ago. So like, yeah. And then I guess the only interesting part is the fact that my ass hurt while in that trip, because not only we had a like 5-hour road trip to my grandma's old village and then 5-hour road trip back. In the meanwhile, we ate Choto Makassar, right? We ate Choto Makassar. It's like a soup, and then turns out since my stomach is sensitive as fuck, I had a bad case of I mentioned it. I was just non-stop shit myself. So every time there's a toilet, I would have to stop, take a shit, and then go, and then stop, take a shit again. Not only my ass was hurting from sitting down in the car, my asshole was hurting from shit. So it's just pure pain for a whole day. At least it didn't happen again the next couple days. So like, yep, all good. But then that's basically it. The only annoying thing that happened. Yeah.
Darrel,
It was a painful day for my ass.
you want to answer the next one before I die of laughter? So Darrel, how was your week?
So, my week has been weirdly good. Like there are definitely some bad days, but this week has been pretty good so far. But I mean, the weird thing is when you're used to bad stuff happening, when good days come, like you feel like something bad is gonna happen, but yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
That's good to hear. Well, for me, I'll start off with today first. So while we were waiting for Darrel, me and Mario talked about, well, mostly I ranted. I ranted about basically today I went to on-site school and we had like an earthquake drill. So while we were rushing down, basically there's like a few other like people behind me. And then they were talking random stuff, like theories about why we had to do the drill. One of them was whether they did this so they could steal our laptops because we had to leave them behind. And I swear I was trying to pay attention to the teacher who was talking up front, but they were behind me and they were like talking loudly. So I was just like, I was in front. I didn't want the teacher to see me. It was so hard to like stifle down my laughter, but it was hilarious nonetheless. And then besides that, so basically after like the Christmas holidays, I realized that like, so basically, you know, baby hairs. So basically mine apparently have turned into toddler hairs. So while I was playing badminton, I usually tie my hair up, obviously, who doesn't? And then I'm not to get disgusting, but I sweat, obviously. But because they're not baby hairs where you can swipe off, but they're not normal hairs either. So they just like randomly dangle from my face, and that was like one of the annoying things ever. That's a random part of my week, but I'm gonna say it anyways. But yeah, I think that's all. It was an awkward point of my week that I stated out, but that's fine.
Okay. So moving on to our experiences. So obviously everybody has their own story when it comes to having to move a lot. Wait, I can't talk. Okay,
It's fine.
so 3 of our stories are probably a little different than each other, obviously. So let's start with our special guest, Darrel. So when was the first time you had to move?
First time I had to move. So my parents originally are from Jogja. They were born and raised there. And so if I'm being honest, when my parents moved here and I was still living in my old house, like things were happy in my old house, like full of happiness. And like when I first reached my new house, currently the one that I'm living right now, I've been living here for like about my whole life. It's been pretty weird adjusting, if I'm being honest. And it also goes to school as well. I remember the first day of 7th grade. I remember it like 100%. I had no friends. Like I'm not first day of 7th grade. I had no friends. I only had like a small group of my friends from my old school that moved to SDA as well. And then it was so awkward, and 7th grade was so weird. Like it was a new experience, but like, oh man, I've had so many cringy memories there, and there's one thing I noticed about myself that changed a lot over the years, if I'm being honest. When I was in 7th grade, I used to crack a lot of jokes, and looking back at it, I was probably the most cringiest kid in my class. And it doesn't help the fact that I'm the second shortest. So like I don't know if I don't drink too much, like if I don't drink milk, or I don't like healthy my body or anything, but I was so short. I was so short. Like when I joined my soccer elective, the kids were massive, like massive. They were so big. Like no wonder I always got
I
tackled in
relate to
like
that.
every
I
soccer
relate
match.
to that.
Yeah.
Short gang.
Yep.
Sure. Short people can relate. Yeah. Wait, talk about your 7th grade. I remember because I was new to SDA too, right? I remember I was waiting in the lobby for me to pick up, and okay, same as you, I didn't have any friends. But then I heard you talking to someone, and I remember thinking there, don't call me weird, but I was like, this guy's accent is so nice. I was like, I shouldn't have like listen to your conversation, but that's a bad habit of mine of like just randomly, but then I was just like, yeah, this the way this guy talks is so nice. And then later on during like the end of like 7th grade-ish, I learned that your name was like Darrel and stuff. And then yeah, on 8th grade we were all in the same class, so I guess yeah, that was really fun. But okay, can I comment one more thing? Actually, I remember I think, yeah, like in the 8th grade, we were in the same class, and we had the group project together. We were doing like a drama. And I remember at that time, Darrel's voice was so low, but he would get the funniest. I promise you, this is not an insult. It was genuinely, it was hilarious. I loved it. But then he would have like these voice cracks. And then because we were online, I'm glad because I would be laughing in like a good way, in a good way, I promise. But it was hilarious. So like with the move and all, how do you like feel about it now? Do you still like regret it, or do you like come to enjoy it, or how?
Nowadays, I think I've definitely adapted to this school better. I know more of to do, and definitely I know what not to do in this school. I guess to be more sort of like adapting is a hard way. Like adapting is definitely hard when you move from somewhere you're familiar with, and then you move to a place where you're not really familiar. It's pretty hard, but I think it definitely takes time. Like time is key when it comes to adapting. So yeah, it adapting is tough, but just give it time, and eventually that foreign place, that uncomfort zone will eventually be your safe zone.
Yeah, that's totally
That's
relatable.
pretty good. Yeah.
Okay, so what about you, Mario? How was your first move, or like the previous moves that you've had? How did it go?
For me, the first moves it doesn't really mean that much to me because I was just a kid. I was still young. I moved a lot since I was a kid, so like yeah. But then I didn't really. I mean, I still remember it, but it just didn't mean much because like the friends you have as a kid isn't really that you're not that close. You're just kids. You just play games and stuff. But then when I had to move and it actually meant a lot is when I moved from 4th grade to no, actually I moved a mid-semester 5th grade from Papua, which is basically hell for me. The school there was so bad. I hated the teachers. I moved to SD High in Manado, right? Honestly, best choice I've ever made. It was actually really fun. Like the teachers, I actually and talking about Darrel, not because moving, you're not getting friends, right? I don't know what it is with my luck, but every time I move, there's always at least one guy that's an extrovert and socializes with me. So I always have a friend, and they introduce me to everyone. So I'm like, sure, why not? Like every time I move. Well, until now, until like grade 8 when I moved to the school, and then since it's online school, don't have much to talk with. So yeah. So basically the biggest move is from my from Papua to Manado and then back here. I was like kind of hesitating to move here because I'm like, but I'm already like it's already I'm already used to the in Manado. It's actually one of the best schools I've gone to. So like compared to my previous school status though, because it was so bad. My experience before us there was so bad, to be honest. I did not have a good time in school. Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, but then the thing, I would have been normal with moving, but then I thought it was gonna be normal, you know. But then it's online school, so it's a lot harder to talk with people. And I'm an introvert, so it makes it 10 times worse. So I basically just didn't talk to anyone except for Ruth, some just like approaching me, and then I'm like, oh, okay, she's one of those people, the one I actually socialize with. Okay then. So we just started talking. Yeah, basically the only one I actually talked to until grade 9 was Ruth, and then I started talking with Kita. And then I started talking with other people in grade 9. So for the whole grade 8, I had no friends except for Ruth. Yeah. That's basically it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
Okay, so because we already talked about year 2, I guess I have to like talk about mine. So basically
Yeah.
I started moving since I was 7 months, practically a baby. So I was basically born in Samarinda. And then my parents decided to move to Cambodia. And obviously, like Mario said, I was a child, a baby. I didn't remember anything until I started like being able to remember stuff later on. And then like even in Cambodia, I did have to like move a lot as well, like the houses, the schools. So probably the first school I went to was like just like for like preschool. I guess it was pretty fun. And then I moved to an international school, and that was and because like it's very different from Indonesia. There's like a bunch of people from like different countries, and then like the so like when I came there, I thought that was normal, which made it a lot harder because I realized it was not normal for the people in Indonesia. Well, for majority of them. So when I came to Indonesia, obviously it was like a huge move. The first school I went to was Indonesian. I talked about this before. I could not speak Indonesian, and I couldn't read and understand, so that was like very difficult. And then making friends wasn't like easy for me because okay, some people didn't like understand that the backstory or like where I've been before. So like it was hard for me to like adjust to what they were used to, I guess. So they're like kind of picky. They didn't know how to like react with new people, and that kind of sucked for me. But I guess like the move in general, I was excited to like finally live in Indonesian as an Indonesian person. So that's probably like one of the big moves, I guess, moving from Cambodia to Indonesia. So I guess like obviously talking about like moves and all, of course you have to have like which is like there's a thing called culture shock where you come into a new place. It can be a country, it can be a new city or etc. And basically the culture is way different than what you've been raised up with or what you're used to. There's also the whole new skill experience, obviously. Who doesn't have those? And also the fact of having to make new friends. So we'll continue like talking about that. So basically with the whole moving situation, there's obviously like culture shock, which is where you're introduced to new culture and it's way different than what you're used to or what you've been raised up with. And obviously there's the new school experience, which I believe probably everyone has gone through it, whether it was like even the school that they've been through a long time. Obviously, there's always the new first days and everything, and the fact of having to make new friends. So we'll continue with that. And how are those days for you, Darrel?
I think like those days of when I was sort of like, sorry, could you repeat the question again? Sorry.
Yeah. So basically, like, how was your experience with like culture shock and having to go to a new school and like having to make new friends?
Ooh. So culture shock. When I first arrived in STA, when I was in 7th grade, adapting, like I was so shocked because like the uniforms when we had back in those like early 7th grade days were like nice, like compared to my old school, like those were nice. Like the STA uniform is like like I don't know why, like a common misconception I have is for some reason everyone that goes to like yang berhubungan sama dia narapan itu kayak pinter-pinter. Like like that's sort of like a misconception I've always had, because for some reason my young mind always think that, oh, if a school uniform is nice, that means that means the people are smart. That's like always a misconception I have. And like especially seeing like school uniforms from other countries, like for example in England, like the all boys school there, they're literally dressed like businessmen. Like they dressed like sort of like very rich businessmen. So like, that's like the biggest misconception I have, if I'm being honest. So one of my life lessons is never judge someone's smartness by the clothing they wear.
Oh, my brain just farted. I'm sorry.
Uh,
what, what about like you said, like when you came to grade 7, you only had like a couple of friends from your old school. So how was it like, especially we didn't even get to like finish 7th grade before we had to move everything online. How was that like? Did you still have like a hard time making friends, or was it like easier to talk to like text people or like call them through online stuff?
If I'm being honest, I know this sounds kind of messed up, but COVID was sort of like a blessing to me, because I've had like so many bad tries of making friends, and like for some reason, like me personally, making friends online, in my opinion, is more easier than offline, because if offline you need to like go up to them face to face and be like, oh hi, have we met before? Or no, that's like the worst part of having to make friends offline, because if online you could basically talk to them just like through chat, and it's sort of like in my personal opinion, it's more easier to make friends online than offline.
That's good. That's so good for you. For me it was a total opposite, but like before we get into that, I'll start with like the culture shock topic. So basically for me, I was raised with like more like Western, I guess, or more like, yeah, basically more like Western culture. So like with the way I dress, with the way I talk to people, how I address people, it's way different than Indonesia. So one of the main things was basically we called older people with like chichi or like kakak, which is basically like older sister or brother, and we would call like pak, bu, tante, you know, it's basically for aunt, uncle, miss, mister. And then also another thing was that it was rude to use your left hand to give something. And then because for me, fun fact, I write with my right hand, but then like I do most of the other things with my left hand. So it would be a reflex for me to hand stuff over with my left hand. And then these like people would give me like dirty looks, and I didn't understand that. So that would lead up to the new school experience as well, because in my old school, we didn't wear uniforms, and suddenly we were wearing uniforms here. And then we had to like do the lessons and like the way people like the teachers taught, and like basically the whole curriculum, I guess, was also a lot different to what I was used to. So it really surprised me. Not only was I not able to speak the language, but with the rest of stuff, I was like dumb. I didn't know anything. No, I knew a few things, but I barely knew anything about like Indonesian's history. And obviously we have IPS, we have PPKN, which is basically like social studies and history and stuff like that. And I didn't know anything. So I was really dumb in 4th grade. Super duper dumb. My grades were horrible. And that led to very lonely, tear-filled nights. Even though I was in 4th grade, I don't know why, but I felt like really overwhelmed. And like, so like my mom, I guess, wanted to help me out, but then she didn't know how, because like it was like a hard adjustment for me. And then like also the fact that I had to make new friends. I mentioned before that when the first time I came to 4th grade, a lot of people basically didn't like me, because this is like the mindset that they have. If a person, an Indonesian person specifically, when they come up to you and they speak English to you, or everything, they answer stuff in English, they like, oh, you're so English, you. So it basically means like, oh, you're just bragging about knowing how to speak English and acting differently than the rest of us, and I think you're like a proud person who likes to show off. But in my case, I honestly didn't know how to speak Indonesian, and like a lot of people would mistake me for that, thinking I was too ashamed to be Indonesian, which I'm not. I'm actually like pretty proud of it. I wanted to learn, and I was it was the opposite. I was ashamed because I didn't know how to speak Indonesian and understand what we were learning and stuff. And then again, they didn't understand the situation I was in, so that was also frustrating. And they didn't give me the time to explain it to them. So it was like hard to make friends, and people made me their enemies for a lot of reasons, which is ironic because one of my friends were actually my enemies first. Like she hated me, but then now we're like best friends. Oh, but besides that, I'm getting sidetracked. Yeah. So, and then coming to SDH, I told Mario this, and I mentioned it in other episodes, but basically the first time I came to SDH, I ate in a bathroom stall because I came from Jakarta, and I didn't know anyone there, and no one came up to me. And because I am a really introverted person, I guess, I didn't go up to anyone either. So I got the bathroom stall experience and check at least, you know. And then before like I had gotten a chance to become close with everyone, the online situation came in, and I'm grateful that Darrel found it something as a positive way to look at it. But then for me, like a lot of people like didn't talk to me because we weren't as close. So basically I spent a lot of the time alone and just like studying. I mean, my grades went bad, so I guess that was good. But then like the social part of me also wanted to have a chance to like make friends. So I guess that was kind of hard. But enough with me rambling. How about you, Mario?
For me, the biggest is the accents. I have gone through so accents from moving. So like, yeah, the first time I moved out of the city, like out of Manado, it was to Bengkulu, right? And then I forgot how they talk actually. I just remember they used a lot of O's. So like cow, which is you in English. You in Indonesia. The other way around. Cow, like it's ko instead. So it says ko, it's ko. And then yeah, basically just they replace a lot of words with o, right? And then after that, where did I move after that? I think I moved directly to Papua. And then they shorten every word by a lot. And then like the ongoing joke, if I'm not wrong, the first couple of times I moved there, when they were like teaching me how to talk in their accent, the joke was like because they were cutting the words off, right? So saya pergi is basically sapi. So just in context, saya pergi means I'm going, and then sapi is cow. And then so a lot of the times it's like you're calling a person a cow instead, because like they shorten it, right? So that's basically the joke. Yeah, it's mostly accents. So I went from Manadonese accent to Bengkulu, and then Papua, and then back to Manadonese, and then here I am at Jakarta. So like, yeah, that's probably the biggest culture shock for me. Oh, not only that, teaching as well. In Papua, it's just hell. Just every school I went to is just not. It's because I went to Catholic schools, but like it was both of them. Both of them was at Papua as well. I went to like 3 schools. I went to a sekolah negeri once because like we couldn't find a school for me, right? Uh, so like for like a month, I was in sekolah negeri. Honestly, sekolah negeri was better than the other 2 Catholic schools I went to. It was just a living hell there. I actually talked about it in the previous podcast. So like,
That's
yeah.
ironic.
Uh,
That is so
yeah.
ironic.
Oh, I forgot as well. One of yeah. One of the things that changed me a lot from Papua. So like they have this snacks when I was in sekolah negeri. They sold it. It's like salt rocks basically. You know how you chew chewing gum, right? You rubber gum. You chew it until the flavor's gone, and then you throw it out. Yeah, for this like salt rock, you basically just suck on it until the flavor's gone, and then you just spit it out. Yeah, that was like so good. I don't know why, and that's probably like the reason I'm into salty foods now. I like salty foods a lot now. So like, yeah, that's one of the things that Papua changed a lot for me. But then when it comes to making friends, I never really struggled because I don't know, I'm lucky. People just come up to me for some reason. Like every time I just introduce myself, and then after the class is done, there's break. Like, hey, it's this, it's this, right? Like we just continue talking, and we become close friends. I'm just lucky, I guess. I don't know. So like basically, my experience in making friends were good until online school came, and then I had to move during online school. So like, yeah, as I said before, like at grade 8 when I moved to the school, barely had friends. I like Ruth just I think Nathan approached me, but then after we just talked for a while, and then after that we just never talked again. And so basically for the whole year, the only friend I actually talked with was Ruth. So yeah. Didn't get any other friends other than Ruth at grade 8. But then other than that, making friends was pretty easy for me because I was just lucky, I guess. Yeah. That's basically all for me when it comes to the culture differences and stuff. Okay. So we done with this topic. You guys don't want to add anything?
I'm good.
Okay. So to the next one then. Which is the pros and cons of moving. So, I mean, obviously, moving isn't always sunshine and rainbows. So we figured we will share the reality of having to move. But before we started talking, I just wanted to give another reminder that moving isn't always bad. There are definitely a lot of good things that you can get from it. Although the struggles in moving are different for everyone, it can depend on how often you move, and how far you're traveling, and other factors as well.
Yeah, so the struggles are also impacted by how easy or how hard it is for you to adapt and socialize, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert and such. So without further ado, let's move on to the not so sunshiny experiences, which are basically like the pros and cons, and the struggles, or maybe even like joys. And yeah, so I'll probably start. So we'll start with the good things first. So basically the good things are obviously whether you like it or not, you learn to adapt easier than others. So like I realized that with my family moving more and more as I like grew up, it was either for me to like leave and then like adapt to a new place and then leave again and adapt to a new place. So even though it might sound bad, it's actually like pretty good, because like in other situations, like for example, I'll put in like life lessons. When you have to work with like a group of people, you learn how to adapt to them and their differences, and you end up with like good results in whatever you're working on. And probably the other good thing is like how we get to learn about a lot of new things. Like I said before, the culture. Even though it might be hard adapting to it, you get to learn more about the culture and you get to learn the differences. So you have like a variety of stuff that you know about. And also, if you are good at making friends and you move a lot and you can keep in touch with them for like a long period of time, then yes, you get a lot of friends. Even though it might be hard to have like a close, like intimate relationship with someone, like a close friend, it is nice to have like a couple of people that you can talk to from time to time, even though you're in different places and etc. But that also relates to the ugly stuff. You might not end up having like a close friend that you can talk to, because you have to like constantly leave and like pick up from the place you were at or like in. And then like, even though you end up being good at adapting, there's like, for me personally, there's like a mindset where like, oh, my family's probably gonna move again, so what's the point of adapting? So like when I came to Azdeha, part of me was just like, oh, I know I'm gonna move again, so why bother making friends? And that's honestly a really bad mindset. So that's probably one of the bad things. And also the fact where it's not like it's okay, it can either go two ways. It's either like, oh, I have homes in a lot of places, or you feel like you have like no home at all. It's not like a house, but like you don't feel like you don't feel like you fit in, especially with me, because when I first moved to Indonesia, it was in 4th grade. So basically other people had already had like their childhood best friends and they stayed there long enough. And so they could build up relationship with other people. Whereas me, I was put there and I was expected to make friends and be like a normal person. Whereas people already had like their own like cliques, their own groups, and I had to like try to fit in, and it's not that easy at all. So that's one of the things I didn't really like about it. And yeah, I guess I'm not gonna go any further because I don't want to scare people who like have to move in like the upcoming time or like period and everything. So we'll move on to Darrel.
So, the pros and cons of moving. So, my point is almost the same as yours. For pros of moving, you can definitely like learn more, and it's a new experience, of course. It's a new experience. You get to like see new things of the place. And for cons, I also agree with your point as well. For the cons or the negatives, making friends, like as I said earlier, making friends definitely isn't easy, and moving to a new school is also not easy. And my biggest fear is because, like, as we all know, like middle school is coming to an end and we're starting to enter high school. Like we're in 9th grade, bentar lagi kan kelas 10 kan, and then there's gonna be new challenges, new stuff we're going to face, which is the scary part. And my closest friend is still a person from my old school. That's like the kind of scary part, because like I know there's gonna be, oh, it's fine, Mario. Like there's gonna be new challenges to this, but hey, it is what it is. I'll face them.
Yeah.
I was about to say that.
It is what it is.
What about you, Mario?
so
what was your
that's what-
experience like?
For pros and cons, it's pretty much the same. The pros is getting a lot more. Wait, wait, my throat's
It's fine.
Sorry. For the pros, basically it's like a lot more experiences and stuff. And the cons is not for me it's not having a lot like being intimate and close with any friends. So basically like I mostly stayed for 1-2 years each. Like so each time I go to the next grade I move, right? Until again as the I stayed for like 3-4 years and then moved back here. So I didn't like until as I didn't really have that much close friends, you know. It was all like always friends for now, and then once I move away we don't keep in touch. So yeah, that's one of the cons. But then it kind of changed, I guess, because now I still have my closest friend right now is still from my previous school, because I stayed longer there and we actually play a lot of games together. So like yeah, that's basically so basically pros and cons. It's the same. Mine is the same as your guys's. And then the thing I probably enjoyed most about moving, it's probably my room, because the more I move, the better it gets. So far, like I'm satisfied with my current room, because I have throughout moving, I've always gotten the worst room. I've always gotten the smallest one. Like throughout my family, throughout my siblings, I always get the smallest one. Middle child, yes.
Middle child.
Yeah, until now, I actually I probably have the biggest bedroom out of everyone. So like, let's go for the first time, and it's actually like really nice. So like it just gets so big. That's one of the things I enjoy the most. The more I move, the better my room gets, I guess. Well, so far at least. Don't know if I'm gonna move again later, but like yeah. But then the thing I disliked or despised is having to make new friends over and over again. So like yeah, it's just annoying, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I was pretty lucky, but it's the thing. I was pretty lucky, so it didn't really. I mostly despised it when there was online school, because it was harder for me to socialize. Because usually people just walk up to me in offline. So like yeah, that's basically it. And um, there's really nothing. The other thing I despise is having bad teachers again, because I have as in
Bad
the previous
experience with
podcast
teachers.
the teachers I've never gotten like good teachers until SDH came in. So like yeah, basically everything about moving for me changed after I moved to SDH. So like yeah, that's
Honestly,
basically it for me.
yeah. Honestly, like in grade 8, our teachers were awesome though. They were wholesome. They were so good. Well, in my opinion, they were so fun.
Yeah, I would same, but then the thing in 8th grade was a lazy cunt. So me in 8th grade was like so ignorant and stuff. So like yeah. Yeah, so no more comments on this topic. Okay, then the next one. So we definitely don't want to leave you all hanging by just explaining our struggles. So for everyone who might be going through the same thing that we had to go through, here's a few tips and tricks for those all of those cons. Darrel, gonna start with the tips.
Sure. So first, your way of solving, fixing, and dealing with your problems, how you adapt it to the new things, and also probably some of the biggest tips I could give to people that are watching right now. For some reason that sounded really awkward, but a few big tips, a few big tips to the people watching. That still sounded weird. Wait.
To the people, to the audience. Yeah.
Yeah. To the audience is is number one. Definitely be thankful of the things you already have. Like I know moving is hard. Like moving is definitely hard because you have to go out of your comfort zone into a brand new zone. It's pretty much like you're in the military and you're entering like rebel controlled areas. It's pretty much like that. But biggest thing is be appreciative of be appreciative. Did I just start speaking
Appreciative,
Spanish,
appreciative.
English, or something? Yeah. Be appreciative of what you have, and even if there are dark times, there will be bright times. Indeed, yeah. That's the biggest main tip I could give.
For me, it's yeah, that was the tip Darrel gave was really good. But then another one for me actually is to not be too anxious, because I'm a guy that like is anxious about everything. Social anxiety, just literal everything. I'm just anxious about everything. And from my experience, every time it's always not it's not as bad as my what my anxiety says. So like just don't be scared, I guess, because like every time I've gotten anxious, it's really not that bad once it actually happens. So like yeah, that's all. Don't be scared, and then just do your thing, because it's not gonna be as bad as that shitty anxiety telling you it's gonna be. So like yeah.
Well, for me, probably okay. This is one that people probably forget, especially for those who tend to move a lot. Is you don't have to like. This is probably like ironic because of like what you said was like looking at the bright places, like the bright side. But for me, it's like you can have time, or like give yourself time to be sulky about it. It's fine, because especially for me, it was not obviously it wasn't my choice to like move. I had to like go with my parents. And the first few times that we had to move, especially when I started like having friends and suddenly we had to move after that, I would say, oh no, it's fine. It's a new opportunity, right? I can learn things from it. I can adapt more. But then like now that I come to realize it's okay to I don't not feel bad about yourself, but it's okay to feel sad about it. Like you don't have to keep running away from the situation that is right in front of your face. It's okay if you're sad about leaving your friends. It's okay if you're scared or anxious about like meeting new people and having to adapt. But then you have to balance it out with what you guys said, with appreciating the things that is already there. And allow yourself to complain, but don't let it like engulf you. Don't drown in like all those things that like those what ifs, or like what would happen if I didn't move, but like try to appreciate where you are, even though it might take some time. I guess, yeah, basically looking at the bright places while allowing yourself to be in the dark ones as well. And yeah, for like tips with like making new friends, for example, even as much as I hate to say it and as much as I don't do it, you have to learn to put yourself out there and like actually be the first one to interact with other people. And I know that is super hard because I've never done it. But then I in future times when I do have to move again, I will try to like be the first one to interact and make conversation with other people. And yeah. So, oh, and also with adapting, it might be weird to say this and it might not be as easy as I make it sound like, but then like be flexible and be open to like what the new place brings you. Like as weird as it sounds, as hard as that might be, like you do have to learn how to adapt if you end up moving a lot, as much as you hate it, obviously. But it's like sort of a balance of the things you have to go through, the things you have to leave, and yeah, etc. So if no one has anything to add, nothing?
Nope.
Okay, so I think it's safe to say that that's all we want to share about this topic. We hope everyone, the audience, the people, as Darrel said, we hope that y'all found it useful and maybe entertaining to hear our awkward stories about moving. So to end this episode, we'll answer a few theorem questions as we do on every other episode. Okay, question number 1. We'll let Darrel start it off. What are your worst pet peeves?
Ooh, pet peeves. Wait, guys. I know I sound like a complete idiot, but can anyone like sort of tell me the definition of pet peeves? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I should have noted that. I'm sorry. It's basically like little things that annoy you. It might be for no specific reason for all, but it still like bugs you and stuff.
I see. So probably wait, first of all, thank you for the definition. Thank you.
It's fine.
But probably for one of the littlest things that annoy me is actually the same point that you said earlier in this call. Or should I say in this podcast? When I start speaking English, people will think I'm from another country or something. Like, I know I'm kind of gonna go off topic, but there was this one time when I was in my old school. When I was in elementary school, I started like speaking English more fluently, right? And one of my close friends at the time, he said, "Are you a British spy sent in to destroy our government or something?" Like, I was so, guys, if guns were legal in our country, I would buy one. But, but I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of a dark joke. But pretty much like, dude, just because I speak English, it doesn't mean some foreign spy trying to overthrow our government or something. Like, I'm not an American spy trying to make this country full capitalist or something like that. But but yeah, that's probably like one, like, it's a little thing, like saying someone is from another country is sort of a little thing, because I can like explain them that I'm originally from here. But dude, that just pissed me off so bad. If Jokowi starts legalizing guns above 14, I'd low-key buy one just in case, you know what I mean?
Just in case.
Just in case.
Okay. Wait, now I feel bad that I mentioned your accent. I'm sorry. I promise I said it as a good thing. It was a compliment.
Fransis scared for her life.
Don't put your gun at me. If we do end up getting guns, don't put your gun at me. Okay, what about you, Mario? What's your pet peeves?
For me, pet peeve something small, right? It's not like that big, but then okay, I have to start it off with this. I don't if you like, it's like basically what games. You can play whatever you want. I don't really care because you enjoy what you want, right? But then what I hate is bocil ML, bocil FF, bocil fucking PUBG and shit. It's not the fact that they play that games. It's the fact that they think they're superior than other people. Like, bro, your game is so shit. Like, literally, there's a lot of better games, and you think you're superior. Like, nani the fuck. I mean, I'm fine if you play those games, but then if you think you're superior because you play the game, I'm like,
oh hell no.
Sure, whatever you say, kid. That's probably the reason why I don't play mobile games, because of netizen Namdua, the bocil, the kids that plays those games. That's the reason I don't play mobile games. That's basically my pet peeves. Them like, God, FF is the best. Oh my God, PUBG is the best. Yeah. It's not even actual PUBG. It's PUBG Mobile. Like, what the fuck? That's basically my pet peeve. Other than that, it's not like an pet peeve. It's more of a hatred, not really pet peeve.
Hatred.
So like, yeah. I despise I basically despise people that think they're the main character and the world revolves around them, aka Americans. AKA Americans.
No, not to offend.
Not Americans. I meant basic white bitches. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Like,
if you know.
Much, yeah, yes. Pretty much 80% of Donald Trump supporters. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah. Come on.
We're not here to talk politics, but those are facts. Not facts. Not facts.
Trying not to get cancelled.
Yeah. Those main characters who like, oh, was everyone looking at me?
Oh my god. Material girl.
Oh, today, oh my god, Darrel, I am so sad you weren't in our class. But basically, we had PPKN, right? So we had to get in groups.
Yeah.
So me and Mario were in one group, right? And then we were supposed to like take up a topic. I'm not gonna mention it in case it offends anyone. But basically, we spent like a good 5 minutes just like going, and we were texting. Obviously, we were just like, slay queen, go. I was in on-site school, and I swear Basti was behind me, and I swear I heard him snickering, like laughing, because I was holding my phone like this, and he could probably see because he was right behind me, right? And I'm just like, are you? But I mean, it was
Material girl.
oh my god, I want to take a screenshot of Mario and like bam, just like put it everywhere. Okay. We're getting sidetracked. But basically for me, my pet peeves. I'm gonna mention a few because I'm not gonna lie, I have a lot of things that bug me because I am that type of person. I'm sorry. But basically one thing's like relating to Mario's main character. Basically, pick me people, like pick me girls, pick me guys, pick me people. They're so freaking annoying. Like there's a certain level of annoying, and then these pick me people are just like, you know, they've gone off the radar. And like that's one of the things that really annoy me. But we'll go through like the more smaller things. Probably like the sound of like metal clashing to metal. Not like, okay, I love like action scenes, not like when people fight with like swords or like, you know, not stuff like that, but like if a person like in my family, when they're setting up the table and they're clashing the metal spoons together, it's like, ugh, you know. It's so random, but it's ugh. And then the other thing is probably when people, okay, so I like my personal space, and when people like get too close to me without my consent. If they have my consent, then it's fine. I love hugs and stuff like that. But then like if they do it randomly, this is like this is a little off track, but like this one time it happened a few years ago, but basically it was a mashup between my pet peeve, between a pick-me person and a person not respecting my personal space. So basically there was this pick-me guy, and he did not respect my personal space whatsoever. And he was like trying to get attention, and it was so annoying. I wanted to slap him, but I was being a polite person, so I didn't. Yeah. So okay, I might be rambling, but last but not least, my other pet peeve is when people, okay, so this is probably a really bad mindset, but then like, I don't, this is super bad, it's super toxic, but I don't like feeling weak. So when a person comes up to me and like, do you want some help? No, actually, no. Okay, I'm not, okay. This is for context, Mario, when you ask for help with like things with like the podcast, I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that at all. But then like when a person is just like, when they put me lower than themselves, like they think themselves are superior than myself, and they're just like, oh, you're probably too young or you're probably too immature to do this, and they want to help me, but their motives are wrong. You know, it's like when they want to help to look good and to make me feel bad about myself. I hate that type of help. It's one of my worst pet peeves. But then if you're genuine about it, of course I'll be more willing to accept the help. You know, there's like there are two different lines, two different situations. But before I start talking more and probably embarrassing myself, let's move on to question number 2. What's the worst injury you've ever had? Mario, I think I know one of the injuries actually.
Yeah, I've talked about it in the podcast, I'm pretty sure. I didn't have that much bad injuries, but then I'll just talk like one of them I've said it in the podcast before, and another one that's pretty recent. It's not that bad, but it just hurts. Basically, when I was a kid, and it was at Bangkul, and I was a second grade. Uh, I was eating shrimps or something, right? And then I dropped the plate, and then basically there was glass shards. And then after that, my mom swept it away, right? And so we thought we got it all away. And then I went to like I went to shower, and then I was still like in the floor was slippery, right? When I got off the shower, I was like, I don't know why, but I was a kid, so I was just doing random stupid stuff. I was doing like, you know how those like quote on rock stars or something like that, celebrities, when they're on stage, and then they finish the song, and then they slide with their knees. That's what I did. And then turns out there was a glass shard on the floor, and it just got through my kneecap. Luckily, I didn't slide that fast, but then it was probably like the scar was like around this long, I guess, around like 2 centimeters, maybe. Yeah, around there. Uh, yeah, it was that. It was not too deep. That's probably the worst injury I've had. But then the recent ones, it's not that this recent one isn't that bad, but it just hurt for like weeks, man. So you know how I've gotten into skateboarding, right? So the first couple days into it, I already got a quote unquote injury. So I was doing this like this trick where you basically just flip it 90 degrees to the side, like so it will be standing on its wheels, right? So it goes like from here to here. And then you stand on top of those wheels. So I tried doing that. I did it a couple times while holding, and then I tried to do it without holding, and then I fell backwards. The thing is, I also do taekwondo, right? We were like taught how to fall properly, so you don't break your hands. You can't like fall with your hands stretched out.
Yeah.
You have to like spring it and roll and some stuff. But then I didn't prepare for falling backwards. So I just fell with my hand straight, and my left hand just took all of the impact. And then I thought my hand was broken at that point. I was just running around my room like shit for like a whole 5 minutes. And then so for like 3 days, I could barely move it. I was like, that hurt. I can move it. It's not like it's broken, but I just could. If every time I move it, it hurts. So I was like, every time I move it, I would be like, slowly, slowly. Yeah, so that went on for a while, and then I thought it was gone, and then I was going to sleep one night in a hotel. It was like New Year's in a hotel. I was like, and then I was just moving my arm like this, and then I felt it again, and then the same thing over and over again. It just keeps on happening for like 2 weeks, and then now it's gone. Luckily, so fortunately, so like yeah, 2 days of skateboarding already an arm injury.
Before
Let's
Darrel
go.
gets to his answer, I just want to comment on when Mario was talking about how big the glass shard was. I love how it was like 2 centimeters, and he looked at it for like 2 seconds. you were just like.
I was confirming it, okay? I was like, I was remembering the ruler. I was remembering how big 2 centimeters is on a
It's
ruler
like-
real quick.
It's like it looked like everything like suddenly stopped, and you were just like checking it. Okay, Darrel, what's your answer?
All right. So when it comes to accidents, if I'm being completely honest, nowadays I don't go outside much, so like that's why I usually like don't get much accidents. But there was this one time when I was in 4th grade, if I'm not mistaken, where it was Christmas. I was in 4th grade, and back then I really like Legos. Like I was obsessed with them. Like I would like watch Lego Ninjago every Saturday. And pretty much my dad bought me this really cool Lego set, right? And I started building it immediately. And I needed to go to the toilet, right? Like it was almost done. Like long story short, the Lego thing that my dad bought, it was sort of like a castle thing, like a big sort of like castle Lego thing, and I really liked it. But I needed to go to the toilet while I was making it. So like after I got done, doing my business, I went back to I went back to the Lego set, and I didn't realize that there was like those Legos were kind of small, and then I accidentally stepped on one, and then it felt like my life flashed before my eyes. Dude. I'm gonna just be
Lego,
totally
stepping
honest.
on
Like,
Lego is a different kind of pain, yo.
It is.
yeah, true. Like it's it hurts so much, and then what sucks is kayak Lego kan kayak gimana ya, kayak edge-nya kan agak tajam kan.
Yeah.
And then when you stepped on it, it was like 50 different depressing movies smashed up into one, and it's watching it on your foot. Like, oh my days, it felt so hurtful. And as a fourth grader, we all know the ending. I cried really bad.
That was an
And then-
interesting analogy, but it was a good one.
Sure.
You deserve to cry. Lego pieces are painful. They're painful.
Yeah,
It is.
true. And that's pretty much my story. And like, one more thing before I wrap up my story. I don't understand how there are so many like YouTube videos of like saying of like the title is basically said like step on 10,000 Legos to win $2 million. Like, are you fucking crazy? Like at this point, you just want your foot to be gone. Like you want to be replaced with a cybotic leg or something. That oh my days.
A person really desperate would we just step on that many Legos for that kind of money.
Dude, talking about stepping on Legos and about those videos. So when I was a kid, I made cringy YouTube videos. I was like those type of kids that's like, oh my god, I want to be a YouTuber when I grow up. So like, yeah, I was those type of kids, right? When I was young. I tried making a video with my friend. So I had those like whole tub of Legos. We just dropped it on the floor and we tried making that type of video. And we just we took like 2 steps and we gave up. We stopped.
Yeah. If you made stepping through all of that, I would have one question for you right now. How are you still alive? That is
How
the
am I
main
not in a
question.
wheelchair?
Yeah, legs no more. For what you guys said, my injuries sound kind of dark now. So basically, the first one I had was when I was kind of young. Basically, I was hanging out with one of my parents. It was their friend's son, and we were like hanging out. We were running around because I was a super active child. So basically, we were running around. We were having dinner with like both our parents, like our families together. And basically, there was like this like garden, but it was like a big garden. It was like outside of the restaurant. Well, not outside, but like, you know, still in the area of the restaurant. And we decided to play there. And basically, there was a place where there was like a rock. There was like a bunch of like big rocks, and we decided to go play on those rocks. Long story short, I fell and like I had a slit on my head. And the scar was still there for a while. Like it disappeared like probably like 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, but it was on there, it was on my forehead, splat out there for a while. So that was fun. Another injury was hence back to the active child I was. Not saying I'm still like hyper now, but I was like super hyper when I was a child. I love playing tag, you know, like running around, hide and go seek. So basically, this one time I was playing with like my friends, and I decided, and the road, it was at school, and they were like not fixing up, but there was a certain road that was still like a bunch of like concrete. So I was running through there and I fell. I tumbled, and I basically had scars all over my leg, but the worst one was on my arm. I literally still have the scar right now. And it's kind of, at first it was like this big, and then it shrunk, so now it's like this big, hence DeMario's. But,
Come on.
but
On.
yeah, the scar was still there. And like another like big injury that I had was actually like last year. Basically, I attended like a badminton competition, and the people I was the second youngest person there, and the people there was like freaking people in college and university. but somehow I got in the competition. It wasn't like too formal, but you still got like a money prize at the end. So I got up into the semifinals where so basically there's my group, so it was doubles, my group and 3 other groups, so it was 4 semifinals. So I was doing pretty good, but then this guy, he was okay. I admire him because his smashes, for like badminton context, which is basically where you go bam and you go straight down like the net and stuff. His smashes were so good, and he decided. I mean, I feel pretty proud that he decided to put that on me, because like that means like I was pretty decent then. If he didn't feel bad about doing that to a child, I was pretty proud of it now that I looked at it. But then like he did that on me, and what you're supposed to do is like you're supposed to go like to a squat position, and depending on where he smashes, you like flick your hand up so you can defend yourself, right? So I was about to do that, but his smash was like it was so good, it was so fast, so I didn't reach it on time. So so when I put forward, I like push myself back, and like the pressure of like the ball hitting, so basically I fell back, but I fell back in the wrong position for my foot. So I ended up like, I don't know, it was like, so okay, if this is this is my leg, this is a foot, it like went like, I don't know how to explain it, but then like it went like that. So basically I had to bed rest and wear like a cast on my foot for like 2 weeks. And then even after that, I had a hard time walking, and it was terrible, because for me, I hate staying still. So like having to stay in bed for that period of time was horrifying. It was deadly for me. Yeah. So last but not least, the question is, what's a weird thing you do when you're alone or when you're with your family? Darrel, go ahead. You can answer this one.
So, the number one thing is, not gonna lie, the number one weirdest thing that I do, whether I'm alone or with my family, is number one, if I'm alone, as I said earlier, I would just look into the wall and see and see time and space through Doctor Strange's hand. No. I'm joking. But all jokes aside, but the number one thing I do, whether I'm alone or with my family, is I would play Thumb Wars, but against myself. Like I'm pretty sure you guys know Thumb Wars, the thing where you have to try to like beat.
I do that, yo. I
beat
do
the other
that.
like that. I would do Thumb Wars, but since there's like no, like I would do it to myself. Like I like try to like fight myself, a thumb war by myself. Pretty much declaring war on myself and winning a thumb war against myself. That's
the smartest thing any person can do. Declare war on themselves.
On yourself.
How to boost your ego.
How
to boost your ego.
No. Either boost your ego or totally ruin it.
Yep.
What about you, Mario? Any more weird things we should know about?
I do when I'm alone, I do the most randomest shit ever. Have you guys watched Encanto? Have you guys watched Encanto?
Yes. So good.
Okay.
So good.
No? Wait, okay. So you know how maybe spoilers warning, kind of, but it's just like a character trait, I guess. So you know how in the movie, like Bruno is like just the most random shit, like knock on wood and shit.
Yeah.
I'll do like those random shit out of nowhere. Like my hands and my mouth just goes like da, and I was like, wait, why did I do that? So I'll just like bang the table for no reason, or like if you guys I actually did it unconsciously in this podcast. I don't know if you guys heard it, but I was just like using my fingers. So like I was doing that shit. Like I would just be doing it unconsciously. I was like, and then once I realized, I'm like, why am I doing that? Yeah, just like knock on wood and shit. That thing it does. That's the weirdest thing I do alone, or when they can't see me doing it, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
So what about you? What about you?
My weirdest level is like weird. So there's obviously more than one things that I do weirdly, especially when I'm by myself. So like I mean, for the first few ones, I'm gonna take points from like you and Darrel's and Mario's. So basically with Darrel, I do stuff by myself. Either it's like competing with myself or like talking the most randomest things out loud to myself. And with Mario, I do the thing where like I drum on my fingers, like jump with my fingers on stuff, or like pat my lap whenever I'm like sitting down. And I do it unconsciously, like Mario said. But then the other thing, so we have like different weird things that we do. So okay, two things. One thing is like I randomly like either randomly sing or randomly like yell pieces of like lyrics or references, either from a movie or from a song or from a TikTok. I'll be like walking around like putting my books back into my shelf, and I'll be like, the table is broken.
It's broke. No, I do the same thing.
And then like with like, for example, like with like Marvel references, and then I'll like sing it out randomly, or like with the Encanto, one of the most recent Disney animated movies. Basically, I randomly sing like, "We don't talk about Bruno."
Bruno. It's a good song though. It's a good
It's
song.
such a good song. And then I'll just be like, just like randomly walking around, yelling like a crazy person, but that's fine. That's normal for me. And the other thing is, this is probably TMI. I don't know why I'm saying it, but I'm saying it nonetheless. So if I have something to do, so I'm sorry that you guys have to hear this. So basically, if I need to use the bathroom, I will announce, like, I only do this with my family, but I will announce that I have to go to the bathroom. Like, I'm a pee.
I used to do that. I used to do that when I was a kid. Not like I stopped like what, grade 7?
I still do it. And then like with my sister will look at me. I'm just like, okay, oh, okay. And then like I'm just like, and then like sometimes I'll be like, I'm gonna take a number 2, and they're just like, okay. So sorry.
Yeah, same as me. Like I would be like screaming on top of my lungs. I was like, poo, pee pee. I gotta pee. Bruh, I don't know why I used to do that, but I did. And then I stopped once I was like, I realized, why do I do this? And then I stopped. Once my sister confronted me about it, like, why do you need to announce it? So I'm like, why do I announce it?
Almost the same as questioning your existence, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, also talking about like talking about random references, right? I do that a lot. This one time I was like, I was playing a game of Valorant with my friends, right? And then out of nowhere, my brain went, Hog Rider. And then my mouth went, you know what? Hog Rider. And then my friends was like, what the fuck? That was so random. So out of nowhere, I just screamed that out of nowhere. And it happened so much times. Not just Hog Rider, but random references.
Yeah, especially if you guys like Harry Potter or Percy Jackson. Sometimes I just go like Potter, but I say it like the Draco way, and then sometimes I'll be like, there's no one. The ghost will be the only one hearing this, but I'd be like, not you, not Hermione. I mean, like, not me, not Hermione.
Hey, Paul.
And like with Percy Jackson references, and I'd be like, seaweed. I'm not sure if you guys read Percy Jackson, but it's basically me catching myself calling other people seaweed brain, or like goldfish. I'm not sure if you guys understand the reference, but basically I would scream that, and like none of the people would understand me, and I'd be like, oh, I just announced myself as weird. So. But I think that's all. If you guys have any other things you want to add, actually.
No, that's it for me.
Yeah. enough shit coming out of my mouth for now. Darrel, do you have anything you want to add? You're more than welcome to say out loud because we honestly don't mind.
Yeah.
For questions, I don't really have any questions, but there is one thing I'd like to share before wrapping this up.
Okay.
I've always wanted to do impressions of famous people. When like I used to love, like I absolutely used to love watching those like people that do impressions not only on YouTube but also on like America's Got Talent, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my god.
But so if school doesn't work out and I have to pick a job, there would be two. I'd either join the military if I don't have like anything left, or I try to do impressions. Now, one of the few impressions that I've been working on over the past few years is actually Donald Trump himself. Like when every time he does his speech, I'm gonna transform into him real quick. He's always like, good old America. Like he puts his country over his own people. Like like I don't agree with his policies, but I have to say that man has such a beautiful accent. Like every time he has a speech, he's like, this country has been neglected by the Democrats for far too long. You got Sleepy Joe falling in the conference. Quite frankly, I think I should have won the 2020 election. Quite frankly, the votes are coming in, people. The votes are flooding. If the Democrats, shut up. If the Democrats try to redraw this election, it is rigged. If they don't vote for Donald Trump, you're quite frankly not a true American. Like that's
Oh my god.
That's probably
That was so good.
That was so good.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you.
That made the whole day, the whole week. That was awesome.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you put that in. Okay, so if there's nothing else to add, Mario, you want to go end it?
Yeah, so that's it for this episode, I guess. We'd also again I will give another big thanks to Darrel for joining our podcast. Thank you, Darrel. And I'm praying that we fit in his weird radar. And hopefully enjoyed the podcast as much as we did.
Yeah, another big thanks to his immaculate Donald Trump impression. I'm so glad I got to hear that. I mean, if there's nothing else to add, we'd like to thank you all for listening, and I guess see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.